Brought to you by Penguin.
The Book of Dust, Volume 2, The Secret Commonwealth, by Philip Pullman. Read by Michael Sheen. Author's Note. The Secret Commonwealth is the second part of the Book of Dust. The central character, Lyra Silvertongue, once known as Lyra Belacqua, was also the protagonist of a previous trilogy, His Dark Materials. In fact, her name was both the first word and the last in that work. In that story, she was about 11 or 12 years old. In the first part of the Book of Dust, La Belle Sauvage, Lyra was a baby. Although she was central to the story, most of the action of that book concerned a boy called Malcolm Polstead, himself about 11 years old. In this book, we skip 20 years or so. The events of His Dark Materials are 10 years in the past. Both Malcolm and Lyra are adults. The events of La Belle Sauvage are even further away in time. But events have consequences, and sometimes the effects of what we once did take a long time to become fully apparent. At the same time, the world moves on. Power and influence shift or increase or diminish, and the problems and concerns of adult people are not necessarily the same as the ones they had when young. Lyra and Malcolm, as I say, are not children anymore. Philip Pullman. Everything possible to be believed is an image of truth. William Blake. Chapter 1. Moonlight and Bloodshed. Pantalaimon, the demon of Lyra Belacqua, now called Lyra Silvertongue, lay along the window-sill of Lyra's little study bedroom in St. Sophia's College, in a state as far from thought as he could get. He was aware of the cold draught from the ill-fitting sash window beside him, and of the warm naphtha light on the desk below the window, and of the scratching of Lyra's pen, and of the darkness outside. It was the cold and the dark he most wanted just then. As he lay there, turning over to feel the cold now on his back, now on his front, the desire to go outside became even stronger than his reluctance to speak to Lyra. "Open the window," he said finally. "I want to go out." Lyra's pen stopped moving. She pushed her chair back and stood up. Pantalaimon could see her reflection in the glass, suspended over the Oxford night. He could even make out her expression of mutinous unhappiness. "I know what you're going to say," he said. "Of course I'll be careful. I'm not stupid." "In some ways you are," she said. She reached over him and slid the window up, propping it open with the nearest book. "Don't," he began. "Don't shut the window. Yes, Pan. Just sit there freezing till Pan decides to come home. I'm not stupid at all. Go on, bugger off." He flowed out and into the ivy covering the wall of the college. Only the faintest rustle came to Lyra's ears, and then only for a moment. Pan didn't like the way they were speaking to each other, or rather not speaking. In fact, these words were the first they'd exchanged all day. But he didn't know what to do about it, and neither did she. Halfway down the wall he caught a mouse in his needle-sharp teeth, and wondered about eating it, but gave it a surprise and let it go. He crouched on the thick ivy branch, relishing all the smells, all the wayward gusts of air, all the wide, open night around him. But he was going to be careful. He had to be careful about two things. One was the patch of cream-white fur that covered his throat, which stood out with unfortunate clarity against the rest of his red-brown pine-marten fur. But it wasn't hard to keep his head down, or to run fast. The other reason for being careful was much more serious. No one who saw him would think for a moment that he was a pine-marten. He looked like a pine-marten in every respect, but he was a demon. It was very hard to say where the difference lay, but any human being in Lyra's world would have known it at once, as surely as they knew the smell of coffee or the color red.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?